Hey guys, Jeremy Beelan here, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can buy a rental property with none of your own money, just like I did. And if you don't know who I am, I'm an expert at acquiring off-market properties direct from sellers, and I've made nearly 8 figures in gross profit since I started doing this in 2017. All right, well, let's get started. I have some notes here. I want to make sure I give you guys the right information. This is how I acquired a multifamily, a two-family property up here in New Hampshire for no money. A cash flowing rental property that I own with none of my own money. And I'm going to show you how I did it today. Now, these deals don't happen all the time, but they do happen. And if you don't get into the game of real estate investing, they don't happen at all. So you really want to make sure you get into the game of real estate investing. I'll tell you, it's a lot like baseball, right? I don't know how many of you watch baseball, but if you need to really just get up to the plate and start swinging, right? So baseball, they pitch the ball over the plate, and the batter has to swing and make hits, right? Sometimes you're gonna strike out. Sometimes you're gonna have foul balls, right? Close, but it was foul. Sometimes you're gonna get bunt hits. You're gonna hit a ton of singles, like a ton of singles. You'll get some doubles every now and then. The triples are very rare. The home runs are really rare. And the grand slams are super, super rare, right? But none of that stuff is going to happen unless you get up to the plate and start swinging, right? So you're never going to hit a home run if you don't swing at the plate. And that's how it is with real estate investing. If you don't go out and start taking massive and perfect action and start trying to acquire off-market properties, you're never ever going to have a chance to hit some home runs. And yeah, you're going to strike out. You're going to lose some deals. You may lose some money. But you're going to make some big, big home run deals the more you do it. So you need to get out there. And I wouldn't call this a home run deal, but it's damn close to triple. All right, so how did I acquire a two-family property that cash flows, okay, with none of my own money? This is awesome, okay? So we had a two-family property that was distressed. And I'm sorry if my handwriting is terrible, but I want to make sure you understand this. So it's a two-family distressed property. We go out to meet to the guy, and he actually kind of owes more than what the property's worth because it's distressed. He's falling behind in his mortgage payments. The tenants are actually paying, but he hasn't done any maintenance. So there's a lot of deferred maintenance that's actually starting to rear its ugly head. And you'll see in this video a picture of what it looked like. Now that's just the outside. The inside was actually even worse. But he had pretty good tenants there that were up to date, but he was not keeping up with the property, and he was falling behind financially for his own reasons. And he had a mortgage balance of $61,576. That's how much he owed. His PITI, which is principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, how much he has to pay every single month on this property, $1,267 is his PITI. Okay? So that's how much the payment was. Now, at the time, the rents were bringing in probably, I want to say it was bringing about $1,700. I could be wrong on that number, but current rents. Okay, so two-family distressed property. Guy has his mortgage penalty, principal, which is the mortgage, interest, taxes, and insurance, PITI, is $1,267. That's how much he has to pay for the property. It doesn't include water and sewer. The rents from the two current tenants are bringing in above $1,700. So the rents pay enough to cover this principal, right? So he's actually making a little bit of money every month, but somehow he's still falling behind. Now, we looked at buying this as a cash purchase, but honestly, in the condition it was in, we would have had to buy it for much less, and he just couldn't do that. So sometimes you get into these properties where you know, you want to give them a cash offer, but they actually just owe more on the mortgage than the property's worth. And this is a creative way to work around. We ended up taking this property over what's called sub 2, subject to the additional mortgage. So, conditional mortgage, no, subject to the current mortgage. So you don't even need to be an expert in the terminology to still make these deals happen. So what happened was he had about a few thousand. He was about $5,000 behind in payments. So we needed to bring about $5,000 to the table to make this current, and then his full payoff was $61,000. So what we did was we took it over sub 2, which means he, as this seller of the property, signed the deed over to my company in an LLC. Signed, so now I have ownership of the company. Ownership of the property in my LLC. Signed the deed over. He didn't get any money out of this, by the way. He just wanted to walk away. Do you believe that? People are willing to walk away from deals like this all the time because they're sinking with the ship and they just want to be done with the problem. There's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of situations like this that happen all over the time, all over the place in your area. So don't think that this doesn't happen. Don't have a limited mindset. These situations happen all the time. So he owes about $61,000. We have, he owes a mortgage payment of $1,267. We're bringing in about $1,700 rent. We need about $5,000 to bring it current. And also this place needs work. So what we decide to do is we borrow money from our private lender. And you should watch my other videos where I talk about private lending. It is a game changer in this industry. So with the private lender, we borrow the $5,000 to bring it current, bring mortgage current. Okay. And we need about $30,000 in renovation costs. Okay, so that's $35,000 that we had to borrow from a private lender. So we borrowed the $35,000. Now, I took the property over in the deed in my name, okay? I'm sorry if I keep going over this. I just want to make sure you understand it because it get a little complex. It's simple, but it's complex. So we took over his mortgage. He signed the deed of the property over to me. I own the property, but he kept his mortgage in place. That's what's called a sub 2. He was hoping that I was going to make the payments on this, right? He was at risk of me not making the payments. So not everybody feels comfortable doing this because if we don't make the payments, the bank's going to foreclose. It's going to go against his name. I lose the property. But I don't want to lose the property, right? So that's how, for me, I tell the seller, Mr. Seller, I don't want to lose this property. I want to keep the bank from foreclosing on it so you can keep your mortgage payment up to date, which helps your credit, and you can be done with this property that you can no longer keep up with. I want to keep the mortgage payments current because I don't want the bank to foreclose on this property because I want to turn this into a great rental property for me. So we bird this property, which is buy, rehab, rent, refinance, repeat. We did that, but rather than doing it with a cash purchase, we did it with a sub 2. So we borrowed $35,000 from our private lender. Okay, this is where it gets really cool. So we go in, we do all the vinyl siding. We had to do some heating system stuff. We split the utilities, the heating system. So the two units had separate heating systems. They were on one before. We put all new windows, did some other stuff. But the $35,000 just basically did really nice renovations. Inside of the properties were okay, but nothing like a little bit of love, like paint and stuff, where cheap money could go and do. So we did the whole outside, some stuff inside, updated some mechanicals and the heating system and everything else, okay? So now I'm into this property for roughly about $90,000, right? So this is where it gets cool. I borrowed $35,000 in rental costs. Okay. I had to pay the lender $3,000 after many months of using their money. How thankful were they to lend me only $35,000 but make $3,000 off of that, right? For, I think it was probably about 4 months. Okay. So we get it and acquire this property. So now, we're here about roughly what, 35,000, 838. Not great with math. And with closing costs, so we had to add about, let's just say about $5,000 in refinance, right? Refinance charges, costs. Okay. So now we're in it for about $104,576 owed. So we get an appraisal. The appraisal comes back at $185,000 appraised value. Okay. The bank is willing to loan 75% LTV, which means loan to value. So they're willing to do up to 75% of $185,000 to put on a loan. But I didn't need to do that. I just needed them to cover the $105,000 that I owed. So we refinanced with the bank. They gave me a loan for $105,000, which covered their costs to get a commercial loan with them, right? All the closing costs and all that, the appraisal, all that. It covered my lender fees for borrowing the money with the private lender that I borrowed the $35,000 from. So it paid not only the interest that I owed them, but it also paid the $35,000 that I owed them for borrowing, right? The money that I borrowed for the renovation costs. It also paid off the remaining balance with the previous bank. So now that mortgage was done. The previous seller now no longer had to worry about me making payments anymore because this loan took care of everything. 100%. Paid everything, $105,000. But now on top of that, I had $80,000 in equity. This deal added $80,000 to my net worth. Think about that. I didn't pay for anything, okay? The bank paid for everything on the refinance, and I still had $80,000 in equity. That means I could sell the property tomorrow on the retail market and make $80,000, right? So I had no money into this at all. None of my money. And the best part is this thing brings in about $500 a month cash flow net. We have a property manager who runs it, and it takes care of the whole thing. And it brings about, it's not a lot of money, but it's $500 a month that I'm getting for free because I know how to do all this. And I made $80,000 for free because I know how to do all this. And these deals happen all the time. And another cool thing, and again, limited belief, I've actually never been to this property. Not once. We bought this property. We renovated this property. I have a property manager that does all the maintenance and managing of this property. I've never been to it. Only pictures that I've seen are the same pictures that you've seen, the before and after. That's about all I know. I've literally never been to the property, and I've owned it now for almost 2 years. This $80,000 is actually more like $100,000 because the value of the property is going up over time. The tenants are paying down the mortgage, right? So that balance of equity is increasing. Each year I increase my rents a little, which means I get a little bit more money than the $500 a month. And I own this, and I never paid $1 for this, and I never saw this property. That's amazing, right? So not a grand slam, but probably damn well a good home run. Again, these deals don't happen all the time, but they do happen, and they happen in your areas all the time. You just need to learn all this, and it's not that hard. But if you can learn all this, this is this kind of stuff that you can do all the time. Now, I have many multifamily rental properties where I have little to no money in them, just like this deal, and they have equity in them and they cash flow, and I put very little. Some deals I have a little bit of money in because I couldn't just get the bank to cover everything, but many of them the bank covered everything because I bought them low enough. And that's why it's really important to acquire properties off market. You can't buy something on the MLS like this. You have to go and find these through marketing to distressed sellers, distressed properties, and distressed situations, becoming an expert at finding off-market deals so you can make this happen. You can't go make this happen in the MLS. The realtors can't make this happen for you. You need to learn the skills, right? So you can learn this on YouTube channels like this. You can learn this by going into coaching programs like the one we have, but you need to learn this. And once you learn this is what you can do. You just have to go out and execute it. It's not that hard. And this is the magic of real estate investing. Now, what happens if you could do this 100 times, right? Maybe do 10 of them a year for 10 years. Could you do that? Of course you could. All right, guys, that's it for this one. Hope you found that presentation helpful. If you're facing challenges with acquiring off-market properties, wholesaling, increasing your profits per deal, well, we may have a solution for you. While I don't want to pressure you into clicking the first link in the description, there's a video that explains how we can help address these issues. I want to be transparent though. It's a sales funnel designed to offer you something. So, however, my main goal here is just to provide value through this video. And if you found this value in this video, then please give it a like. I really appreciate that. This will help YouTube's algorithm to recommend more videos just like this to assist you further in your wholesaling journey, right? Your real estate investing journey. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Be happy to reply to them. Maybe you guys want me to do another video on something, leave it in the comments and I'll get to it, okay? And, if you could subscribe to the channel, that would help me immensely. I would really mean a lot. I really want to get this YouTube channel big and bad so I can help a lot of people and teach them what I just taught you in this video today. So if you could do that for me, greatly appreciate it. We're all looking to build a life here of REI freedom. I want that for you. I want that for others. I know I have it. Let me teach them. Have a great day, guys.